The masters of manifestation all knew one truth: real power lives in silence. Powerful secret reveals how your most sacred desires gain strength when kept hidden, and how quiet intention can move the forces of the universe. The magic begins where the world cannot see. The powerful secret. Introduction. Beyond the veil of ordinary time, within the folds of forgotten ages, lies a truth so luminous it has been cloaked in shadows to preserve its sanctity. This is not truth meant for the many. It is a powerful secret hidden in plain sight, awaiting those whose spirit is ready to awaken its force. It speaks of a current, subtle, immense, that flows not in the noise of the world, but in the hallowed stillness between thoughts. This current, known only to the adepts of silence, can be summoned only in secrecy, far from the chaos of expectation and judgment, for it is in the sacred hush of your most private self that you may awaken the law behind all laws, the divine art of unseen creation. The ancients knew, those guardians of forgotten gnosis, that power bends not to outward spectacle, but to the inner whisper that communes with the eternal mind. They knew that desire, when enshrined within the heart and sealed from the intrusion of the doubtful, becomes charged with a magnetic potency the universe cannot refuse. This sacred lineage was kept alive in murmurs and manuscripts, passed hand to hand through cloistered lineages, kept safe by those who honored its ability to shape destiny. And now, as you read these words, you cross a threshold few ever approach. You are entering the current of the hidden ones, the keepers of true manifestation. The universe is not chaotic, it dances to the rhythm of precise laws, each one echoing the order of creation. And within this sacred order lies a paradox. To manifest in fullness, one must become invisible. In secrecy, your thoughts gain clarity. In solitude, your intentions become fire. Your hidden practice becomes a sacred temple where dreams are not wished, but forged. In time, you will come to know why the greatest alchemists of destiny cloaked their workings, why their rituals were never spoken of, and why silence itself is the most powerful amplifier of intention. For the act of keeping sacred what is yours sends a signal into the unseen realms, one that bends reality toward your will. The elders whispered of the 7 inner chambers, realms within your consciousness, each vibrating with a tone of creation. When entered in the proper order and in perfect secrecy, these chambers unlock an energy capable of reconstructing your reality from the root, but they open only to the quiet seeker, the one who walks the inner path with reverence and discipline. You now hold the first key. What you do with it will determine what doors open. Next, before we begin, please hit the like button and comment below where in the world you are listening from today. Part 1, The Sacred Foundations of Secret Music Power. Chapter 1, The Whispered Truth. Under the light of a crescent moon, Ezra, a weathered traveler, sat beneath the stars when a merchant approached, his clothes dusty from the road. "I've lost everything," the merchant lamented. "They say you know the secret of wealth. I beg you to share your wisdom." Ezra smiled softly. "What you seek lies not in my words, but in the silence of my tent each night." He gestured to his modest dwelling. While others chase fortune in the marketplace, true abundance blooms in solitude. The merchant watched as Ezra retreated to his tent each evening, emerging each morning with an inexplicable radiance. As seasons passed, the merchant witnessed Ezra's quiet prosperity grow, while his own desperate public pursuits yielded nothing but exhaustion. Through the ages, those who mastered manifestation understood this fundamental truth: the most potent magic unfolds in sacred solitude. From the mystic caves of ancient times to the private studies of modern visionaries, true power has always been cultivated away from prying eyes. The universe responds most powerfully to intentions nurtured in the quiet sanctuary of your own heart. In a distant valley lived Clara, a gardener who received 2 identical seeds from a wise woman. The first seed she planted with great ceremony, inviting the entire village to witness her sophisticated techniques. Daily, she explained her methods to curious onlookers, each offering conflicting advice. The second seed she planted in a hidden corner of her garden, tending it in the peaceful hours before dawn, sharing its existence with no one. As months passed, the public seed struggled, burdened by the weight of countless opinions and doubts. But the secret seed, nourished only by Clara's quiet devotion, grew into a magnificent tree whose branches seemed to touch the heavens themselves. Your own manifestation journey mirrors this truth. When you protect your deepest intentions within the sanctuary of silence, they take root in fertile soil, free from the corrosive effects of external energies. The universe conspires most powerfully with those who understand the sacred power of secrecy. Practice, create your secret intention sanctuary, a private space reserved solely for manifestation work. Choose a quiet corner of your home, perhaps screened by a curtain or simply a designated spot in your bedroom. Spend 5 minutes in complete silence, holding your desire in your mind while visualizing it, surrounded by protective golden light. Let this become your sacred space where intention transforms into reality, shielded from the world's prying eyes. Chapter 2. Why silence amplifies your power. The ancient wisdom speaks of Dorothy, whose heart yearned for true love in a small village where whispers traveled faster than wind. Each day she would voice her hopes aloud, sharing her dreams of romance with anyone who would listen. Yet her words, scattered like seeds in barren soil, yielded nothing but judgments and skepticism from her neighbors, until one midnight, guided by an inner knowing, Dorothy retreated to her garden. There, beneath the stars, silent witness, she whispered her heart's desires to the night blooms. In that sacred solitude, her prayers took on a new potency. Within months, love found her not through her public proclamations, but through the magnetic power of her private devotion. This reveals a universal truth. Intention, like light, becomes more concentrated when focused through the lens of silence. When you broadcast your desires to the world, their power disperses like ripples in a pond, weakened by each encounter with doubt and disbelief. But in the sanctuary of silence, your intentions gather force, like water behind a mighty dam, building pressure until manifestation becomes inevitable. In a distant kingdom lived Samuel, a blacksmith renowned for his craft. For years he declared to all who entered his forge that he would create the perfect sword, one that would make him legendary. Yet despite his skilled hands and determined spirit, each attempt fell short of his vision. The more he spoke of his dream, the more others offered their opinions, until their voices drowned out the whispers of the metal itself. One day Samuel closed his forge to visitors. In the depths of night he worked alone, listening only to the song of steel and flame. No longer did he speak of his quest, he simply surrendered to the sacred dialogue between craftsman and creation. When he emerged months later, he had forged not just a sword, but a masterpiece that seemed to hold starlight in its blade. Your own manifestations require this same sacred forge of privacy. When you shelter your intentions from the world's gaze, you create a pure channel through which universal forces can flow unimpeded. Like Samuel's sword, your desires must be shaped in the quiet moments when you can hear the universe's guidance without distortion. Practice. Dedicate yourself to a day of sacred silence regarding your deepest desires. Let your intentions echo only within the chambers of your mind and the chapters of your journal. Notice how this internal focus magnifies your connection to what you wish to manifest. Conclude your day with a 10-minute meditation, visualizing your voice as a golden river flowing inward rather than outward, nourishing the seeds of your desires in the fertile soil of silence. Chapter 3. The ancient art of sacred solitude. Through the veils of time comes a tale that whispers of the true power of solitude. High in the mist, shrouded peaks where ancient wisdom dwells in stone halls, a seeker named Theodore journeyed to understand the ways of manifestation. He observed the most revered monks, spending countless hours alone in their sparse cells, their silence deeper than the mountain's roots. Why do they separate themselves? Theodore asked the monastery's elder. Surely wisdom grows through sharing, not isolation. The elder's eyes held the knowing of centuries as he replied, "What you see, a separation, is actually the deepest connection. In sacred solitude they commune not with the echoes of human thought, but with the very source of creation itself. When you enter the sanctuary of solitude, you step into a temple where your consciousness merges with universal intelligence. Like a clear pool undisturbed by ripples, your mind becomes a perfect mirror for divine inspiration. This is the secret. Understood by masters throughout the ages, true power flows not through the channels of human interaction, but through direct communion with the infinite. In a distant valley lived Millicent, a seamstress whose hands held dreams of weaving magic into reality. In her busy workshop, surrounded by chattering apprentices and demanding customers, she attempted to create a cloak of invisibility. Month after month, her threads refused to hold the ethereal qualities she sought. Her frustration grew with each failed attempt until one night, guided by an inner calling, she gathered her materials and retreated to a hidden cave in the mountainside. There, in perfect solitude, something extraordinary occurred. The very threads began to whisper their secrets, teaching her the patterns of invisibility that had eluded her in the noise of the world. In that sacred space, where only the sound of her breath and the whisper of silk filled the air, Millicent created what countless others had deemed impossible. Just as Millicent discovered, your manifestation power reaches its peak in moments of complete solitude. When you withdraw from the world's ceaseless chatter, the very atmosphere around you becomes charged with potential. In this space of sacred isolation, cosmic forces can work through you unimpeded, guiding your intentions toward manifestation with perfect clarity. Practice. Set aside 1 hour for sacred solitude manifestation. Secure your space from all interruption. Turn off every device. Lock your door and create a sanctuary of silence. Sit with your desire, allowing it to expand in the vast space of your undivided attention. As you breathe deeply, visualize golden roots of light extending from your heart into the earth, anchoring your intention in the fertile soil of possibility. Chapter 4. Decoding the universe's language. High upon the weathered cliffs where sea spray meets starlight, lived a lighthouse keeper named Barnaby. Night after night, he followed the prescribed intervals for operating his beacon, yet something felt amiss. Ship still struggled to find safe passage despite his dutiful adherence to protocol, until one stormy evening, as he sat alone in his tower, the rhythm of the waves caught his attention in a way it never had before. The ocean was speaking not in words, but in patterns. Its swells and retreats carried a message that had always been there, waiting to be discovered in solitude. When Barnaby aligned his beacon's timing with these natural rhythms, something miraculous occurred. Ships began finding their way with unprecedented ease, as if guided by an invisible hand. In the sacred silence of your own life, the universe speaks in similar ways. Like ripples on water, its messages move in patterns that become visible only when you still the surface of your mind. These divine communications appear as synchronicities, repeated numbers, meaningful coincidences, a cosmic language that reveals itself most clearly in moments of solitary observation. In the quiet corners of an ancient library, Hazel discovered this truth in her own way during busy hours. When patrons filled the reading rooms, books remained firmly in their places, but in the hushed moments before opening and after closing, when she worked alone among the towering shelves, something extraordinary would occur. Books would suddenly fall, always opening to passages that precisely addressed her unspoken questions. One evening, wrestling with a decision about moving to a new city, she found herself alone in the reference section, as if moved by an unseen hand. A travel guide tumbled from its shelf, landing open to a page about the very city she'd been contemplating. The next morning, a biography fell, revealing a story of someone who had made a similar choice and found unexpected success. The universe speaks most clearly when you create space for its whispers. Like Hazel's living library, it responds to your solitary presence. With personalized guidance, these messages flow freely when you step away from the noise of collective consciousness and enter the sacred space of private communion with universal intelligence. Practice. Begin a universal signs journal and maintain it for 7 days. During moments of solitude, record any synchronicities, repeated numbers, or unusual patterns that catch your attention. Each evening, dedicate 15 minutes to silent contemplation. In this quiet space, ask the universe to communicate more clearly with you. Remain receptive to any impressions, images, or insights that arise, knowing that in silence, the language of the cosmos becomes clear. Chapter 5. The Invisible Force. Within, deep beneath the Earth's surface, where shadows reign eternal, Walter spent countless hours mining coal, his lamp the only companion in the endless dark. For years, he followed the same routine as his fellow miners, until one day, exhausted and seeking respite, he switched off his lamp and sat in meditation. In that moment of perfect solitude, something extraordinary occurred. The coal walls began to emit a subtle glow, not the harsh glare of artificial light, but a soft luminescence that seemed to pulse with life itself. This mysterious light appeared only when Walter was completely alone, vanishing the instant another miner approached. Within you dwells a similar force, a divine spark that lies dormant until awakened through sacred solitary practice. Like the luminescent coal that responded only to Walter's private presence, this inner power grows stronger with each session of intentional solitude. The universe has embedded within your being a celestial light that activates only through dedicated personal communion with the divine. In a small village bakery, Ruth discovered this truth through her own experience. During business hours, she kneaded dough alongside her apprentices, producing perfectly good but ordinary loaves. Yet in the sacred hours before dawn, when she worked alone in the quiet sanctuary of her kitchen, something magical occurred. As her hands moved through the dough in solitude, she felt a warm energy flowing from her palms, an invisible force that infused each loaf with healing properties. Those who ate bread from Ruth's pre-dawn sessions found their ailments easing, their spirits lifting, though none could explain why. The secret lay not in her technique or ingredients, but in the private moments when she allowed her inner force to flow freely, unobserved and unhindered. Your own dormant powers await a similar awakening. Like Ruth's healing energy, these abilities remain latent until activated through consistent private practice. Each moment spent in solitary communion with your inner light strengthens this force, gradually transforming it from a flicker into a flame. Practice. Begin each day with a daily force awakening ritual. Find a quiet Space before dawn where you can sit undisturbed for 20 minutes. Place your hands over your heart center and visualize a golden sun expanding from within your chest. With each breath, see and feel this light growing brighter. More powerful, continue until you sense a warm pulsing energy in your palms. This is your divine force awakening. Chapter 6, Rituals of the Hidden. Masters, in the depths of night, when most souls rest in peaceful slumber, an apprentice named Vincent found himself drawn to a peculiar light emanating from beneath his master's door, through an ancient curiosity that has moved seekers. Since time immemorial, he gently pushed the heavy wooden door open. There in the flickering candle light, he witnessed a sight that would forever alter his understanding of manifestation. His master had arranged 12 candles in a perfect circle, each flame dancing in harmony with sacred symbols etched in salt upon the floor. In the center stood 3 vessels, one of copper, one of silver, and one of clay, each containing materials that seemed ordinary by day but now pulsed with an otherworldly energy. As Vincent watched transfixed, his master transformed simple objects into vessels of pure manifestation, power through movements and whispered words that seem to bend the very fabric of reality. The universe has always preserved its most potent secrets for those who understand the sacred art of ritual. Throughout the ages, those who mastered manifestation discovered that specific arrangements of space, time, and intention create direct channels to the cosmic forces that shape reality. These ceremonies, performed in perfect solitude, become bridges between the visible world and the invisible realms, where all possibilities exist. In a humble village, a washerwoman named Ellen discovered this truth through her own private practice. While others slept, she would steal away to the river's edge under the full moon's glow. There she performed her secret ritual, blessing each garment with specific intentions, while the moonlight bathed her work in silver radiance. Those who wore clothes touched by Ellen's midnight ceremony found their lives transforming in mysterious ways. Love bloomed, opportunities appeared, and fortune smiled upon them. The power of private ritual lies not in complexity, but in the sacred intention with which you perform each action. When you create and maintain your own ceremonial practice, shielded from the world's prying eyes, you establish a direct line to the universal forces that govern manifestation. Each ritual becomes a key that unlocks specific frequencies of creation, allowing your desires to materialize. With supernatural precision, practice, create your personal midnight power ritual by selecting 3 objects: a stone to represent earth and permanence, a candle for transformation and light, and a vessel of water for flow and cleansing. Arrange these in a triangle formation in a dark private space. For 25 minutes, move clockwise between each station, pausing to state your intention at each point. Begin at the stone, grounding your desire in reality. Move to the candle, allowing its flame to illuminate your path. Complete each circuit at the water, letting it wash away all doubt. End by extinguishing the candle with purpose, knowing that as its physical light dims, your intention's spiritual light grows stronger in the universe. Chapter 7, The Magnetic Field of Secret Desire. In the misty hours before dawn, when the veil between worlds grows thinnest, a fisherman named Chester discovered one of the universe's most closely guarded secrets. While other boats returned with empty nets, Chester learned to sit in perfect stillness at the bow of his vessel, eyes closed in deep visualization. In these sacred moments of solitude, something extraordinary occurred. Fish began swimming directly toward his boat, drawn by an unseen force that defied natural explanation. You see, when intentions are held in the sanctuary of silence, they generate a magnetic field of pure, creative energy. like a lighthouse whose beam remains invisible until it touches its intended target. Your private visualizations emit a specific frequency that calls forth exactly what you seek. This magnetic power grows stronger in proportion to the privacy with which you guard it. The universe operates through precise spiritual laws that reveal themselves only to those who practice in solitude. Each quiet moment spent in focused visualization creates ripples in the cosmic ocean, drawing your desires toward you through channels that transcend ordinary understanding. These channels activate only when your intentions remain protected from the scattered energies of the outside world. In a small village, seamstress named Adelaide understood this principle intuitively. Each night, as moonlight filtered through her workshop windows, she designed dresses in complete solitude. She never advertised, never displayed her work in shop windows, yet somehow the women who most needed her creations found their way to her door, each garment conceived in midnight. Silence seemed to emit an invisible signal that called forth its perfect match. The magnetic force you generate in privacy operates like Adelaide's silent beacon, drawing precisely what you envision through the mysterious workings of universal law. When you hold your desires in the sacred space of solitude, you create an energetic signature that the universe recognizes and responds to with unerring accuracy. Practice. Begin the magnetic visualization technique by finding a completely dark, quiet space where you can sit undisturbed. Close your eyes and imagine your desire taking form as a brilliant orb of light hovering above your crown. Feel this orb pulse in perfect rhythm with your heartbeat, expanding with each beat until it surrounds your entire body in a sphere of magnetic energy. Maintain this visualization for 15 minutes, sensing how this field draws your desire closer through invisible channels of manifestation. As you conclude, feel your entire being becoming a living magnet, naturally attracting the opportunities and circumstances that align with your private intention. Chapter 8. The danger of diluted power. In the heart of a sunbaked valley, a well-digger named Franklin discovered a pristine underground spring, its waters crystal clear and sweet. Overjoyed by his find, he proclaimed it to the entire village, inviting all to partake of its bounty. Within months, the spring that had gushed so freely began to diminish, its waters growing tepid and scarce as hundreds drew from its depths. Yet across the valley, Franklin's rival Jeremiah had found his own spring, one he guarded in silence, sharing its location with only a chosen few. For decades, Jeremiah's secret well flowed abundantly, its waters remaining pure and powerful, while Franklin's discovery dried to dust. This truth echoes through the ages. Manifestation energy flows like water through the channels of consciousness. When you broadcast your intentions prematurely, you create countless tiny outlets that drain away their concentrated power. Each person who learns of your desires becomes a point of energetic discharge, their doubts and judgments acting as hidden leaks in your manifestation vessel. In the realm of creative spirit, a painter named Beatrice learned this lesson through extraordinary means. Working on what she knew would be her masterpiece, she noticed a peculiar phenomenon. Each time she shared her vision with others, the very pigments on her canvas shifted and changed. The brilliant blues she had applied would fade when she told her skeptical sister about the painting. The vibrant reds would dull after discussing her technique with fellow artists. Only when she worked in complete solitude did the colors remain true to her original vision. The universe speaks through such mysteries, showing you that every desire holds a specific vibration, a pure note in the symphony of creation. When you share this vibration too soon, it becomes distorted by the frequencies of others' thoughts and expectations. Their energy fields intersect with yours, altering the pure signal you send to the universe. Practice. Begin the power dilution test. By choosing two similar desires of equal importance, share the first with three different people, explaining your plans and hopes. Keep the second completely to yourself, holding it in the sacred space of silence. For 2 weeks, maintain a detailed journal documenting how each desire unfolds, noting any synchronicities, obstacles, or manifestation speed. After observing which desire manifests more powerfully, commit to a 30-day period of absolute secrecy regarding all significant manifestations, allowing them to gather strength in the fertile soil of silence. Chapter 9. The Sacred Hours of Power. In the depths of night, when the world lies dormant, a night watchman named Howard made an extraordinary discovery. Between the hours of 3 and 4 a.m., while performing his rounds at an old factory, he witnessed something that defied explanation. The machines, switched off and silent during the day, would mysteriously spring to life, their gears turning with perfect precision, producing items of unmatched quality. This phenomenon occurred only when Howard performed certain movements in the shadows, gestures he had learned from an ancient book found in the Facto's archives. In the stillness of those pre-dawn hours, his private rituals seemed to awaken forces beyond mortal understanding. Time, you see, is not the rigid framework many believe it to be. Throughout the ages, those who have glimpsed behind the curtain of reality understand that certain hours hold special power. These temporal gateways, dawn, dusk, and the mysterious midnight hour, create natural portals where the boundary between thought and manifestation grows whisper thin. During these sacred intervals, when most of humanity slumbers, the universe becomes extraordinarily receptive to focused intention. Your private practices performed during these specific times carry the weight of 1,000 ordinary moments. Consider the tale of Grace, a shepherd who spent countless evenings with her flock. As twilight descended across the hills, she noticed something remarkable. Her sheep, left undisturbed by human presence, would arrange themselves in precise formations, living arrows pointing toward valleys of abundance that had remained hidden during daylight hours. These patterns appeared only when Grace watched in solitude during the liminal times between day and night. These transitional hours serve as bridges between the visible and invisible realms, just as Howard's machines responded to his midnight rituals and Grace's sheep revealed hidden treasures at twilight. Your manifestation power magnified exponentially during these sacred windows of time. Practice. Select your personal power hour. Choose either dawn, noon, sunset, or midnight. For 21 consecutive days, dedicate 15 minutes during your time to perform a manifestation ritual. Find a private space where you won't be disturbed. Sit in silence, close your eyes, and visualize your desire taking form in the etheric realm. Document each session, noting any synchronicities, signs, or accelerated manifestations that occur. Pay special attention to how the consistency of honoring this temporal portal affects the speed and precision of your manifestations. Chapter 10. Preparing the Temple of Mind. In the heart of a small village, a carpenter named Edgar discovered a truth that would forever change the way you understand manifestation. Within his weathered barn, he built secret workshop, a sanctuary known only to him. There, in the hushed moments between dawn and daybreak, he shaped wood with such precision that the joints seemed to defy natural law, fitting together as though the pieces had grown that way from the same tree. The secret you will find lies not in the tools but in the preparation of the mind. Just as a sacred temple must be purified before holy ceremonies can commence, your consciousness requires specific preparation to channel the pure energy of manifestation, Edgar's workshop became. More than mere space, it transformed into a crucible where intention and material merged in perfect harmony. This sacred truth echoes through the story of Opal, a school teacher who transformed an abandoned classroom closet into her private chamber of manifestation through daily cleansing rituals, both physical and spiritual. She created a space where her intentions grew exponentially more powerful than those set in the outside world. Within those walls, her desires took root and flourished with unprecedented speed. Your mind, like Edgar's workshop and Opal's sanctuary, yearns to become the divine instrument it was always meant to be, but first it must be prepared. The ancient masters understood that the human consciousness contains 7 sacred chambers, each holding specific manifestation powers. These chambers, when properly cleansed and activated, form a direct channel to universal forces. The physical space where you practice serves as a mirror to your inner temple. As you purify your external sanctuary, you simultaneously cleanse the chambers of your mind. This dual purification creates a resonance that amplifies your manifestation power. Beyond ordinary limits, practice, begin your mind temple preparation ritual by thoroughly cleaning your chosen manifestation space. Remove all clutter and dust, allowing this physical act to symbolize the clearing of mental debris. Then sit in meditation for 30 minutes. Visualize your mind as a magnificent temple with 7 distinct chambers. Starting from the lowest chamber, direct streams of golden light wash through each level, cleansing and activating them one by one. As you reach each chamber, speak this affirmation: I purify this sacred space within me, making it ready to receive and manifest divine wisdom. Complete the ritual by visualizing all 7 chambers glowing in perfect harmony. Your mind now prepared as a pure vessel for manifestation power. Part 2, The Alchemy of Secret Practice. Chapter 11, The Chambers of Unseen Power. Within the depths of an ancient mountain, a spelunker named Cornelius ventured where few had dared. In absolute solitude, he discovered a remarkable system of caves, each chamber housing a crystal of different hue. These sacred stones held a mysterious property. They vibrated with other worldly energy when touched in solitude, yet fell dormant in the presence of others. You possess within your consciousness a similar system of sacred chambers. These inner sanctuaries mirror the physical world's hidden temples, each containing specific powers of manifestation that activate only in the sanctuary of private practice. When you enter these chambers alone, your focused attention becomes the key that unlocks their dormant energies. Through her nightly vigils in the lighthouse tower, Pearl mapped these internal chambers with methodical precision. In her solitary meditations, she discovered the unique purpose of each sacred space. The first chamber, glowing with ruby light, crystallizes your desires into clear intention. The second chamber, pulsing orange, amplifies the vibration of unwavering faith. In the third, a golden space transforms your deepest fears into powerful fuel for manifestation. The fourth chamber emanates emerald light, transmuting pure thought into physical form. The fifth chamber, bathed in sapphire blue, opens direct communication with universal intelligence. The sixth chamber glows with indigo, awakening dormant spiritual gifts that have waited lifetimes to emerge. The seventh and final chamber radiates violet light, anchoring divine will into earthly reality. Like Pearl's systematic exploration, you must enter these chambers one at a time in perfect solitude. External voices and energies create interference that prevents these subtle frequencies from emerging. Only in the silence of private practice can you fully attune to the unique qualities and powers each chamber contains. Practice. Begin your chamber mapping journey by dedicating the next 7 days to exploring each sacred space within. Find a quiet location where you won't be disturbed. Sit in meditation and visualize entering a different colored chamber each day, starting with the ruby red first chamber and progressing through the spectrum. Spend 20 minutes inside each space, allowing its unique energy to reveal itself. Notice what sensations arise, what insights emerge, and what specific manifestation power becomes available to you in each chamber. Record your discoveries in a private journal, building a personal map of your inner temple's sacred geography. Chapter 12. The 7 Sacred Silences. In the highest reaches of the sacred mountains, where the air grows thin and the veil between worlds becomes transparent, a monk named Jerome discovered the hidden language of silence. Through years of solitary practice, he uncovered 7 distinct qualities of silence, each carrying its own magnetic power to attract specific manifestations from the universal field. The first silence, contemplative, draws cosmic wisdom like a vessel collecting morning dew. When you rest in this silence, universal knowledge flows naturally into your consciousness. The second silence, receptive, opens channels between your earthly experience and higher realms. This silence creates a bridge across which divine messages travel freely. Intentional silence, the third type, builds manifestation power like a dam holding back waters until the perfect moment of release. The fourth silence, devotional, bathes your desires in divine grace, transforming ordinary wishes into sacred offerings to the universe. Creative silence, the fifth type, serves as a womb where visions gestate until ready for birth into physical form. The sixth silence, transformative, dissolves barriers between you and your desires, melting resistance like snow in spring sunlight. The seventh silence, transcendent, merges your individual consciousness with infinite potential, where all possibilities exist simultaneously. In a valley below Jerome's mountain retreat, a weaver named Prudence worked at her loom, discovering how each type of silence influenced her creations in mysterious ways. When she wove in contemplative silence, her tapestries contained symbols that brought prosperity to their owners. During receptive silence, her hands moved of their own accord, creating patterns that later proved to be maps to hidden treasures. Working in intentional silence, she found her threads attracted good fortune like magnets drawing iron filings. Devotional silence infused her works with healing properties, while creative silence produced tapestries that seemed to shift and change depending on the viewer's needs. Transformative silence enabled her to weave designs that dissolved obstacles in people's lives, and transcendent silence resulted in works that served as portals to higher consciousness. Practice. Engage in the 7 silence cycle over 7 days. Each day, dedicate 30 minutes to one type of silence. Begin with 3 deep breaths, allowing your intuition to guide you to the silence that calls most strongly. Maintain this silence while holding your desires in your awareness, noticing how each specific frequency influences your manifestation energy. Let each silence work its unique alchemy on your intentions, transforming them through 7 distinct chambers of power. Chapter 13. Harnessing lunar and solar forces. Through countless nights of observation beneath the vast celestial tapestry, Augustus discovered what the ancient ones knew, that the cosmos moves in precise rhythms that open and close the gates of manifestation power. His astronomical charts revealed patterns so precise that when overlaid with historical records of miraculous manifestations, they showed an undeniable correlation between celestial positions and earthly Achievements. The universe operates like an infinite clockwork, its gears turning in perfect synchronicity to create windows of enhanced manifestation. Potential. The new moon phase whispers of beginnings when seeds of intention plant themselves most deeply in fertile cosmic soil. As the moon waxes, its growing light magnifies the power of expansion, nurturing your desires like a celestial gardener tending to spiritual crops. The full moon brings manifestation energy to its peak when the veil between thought and form grows thinnest, allowing desires to crystallize into reality. During the waning phase, the moon's decreasing light creates ideal conditions for releasing what no longer serves your highest purpose. In her workshop filled with delicate time pieces, Virginia discovered these truths through careful observation and private practice. She noticed that watches assembled during the new moon developed an uncanny accuracy, while those crafted under the full moon seemed to capture time itself within their mechanisms. Gears cut during the waxing phase expanded perfectly into their settings, and those shaped under the waning moon released old patterns of mechanical resistance. The sun's daily journey also creates sacred windows of opportunity. The pre-dawn hours carry the pure potential of unmanifested creation, while high noon concentrates manifestation power like a cosmic magnifying glass. Sunset transforms energy from active to receptive states, and midnight opens doorways to the deepest chambers of universal wisdom. These celestial cycles operate like combination locks. When you align your private practices with their rhythms, you unlock manifestation powers that remain dormant during ordinary hours. Each phase offers its own magnetic frequency, its own sacred invitation to participate in the cosmic dance of creation. Practice. Begin your cosmic timing calendar by marking the next 28 days with precise lunar phases. Note the exact times of the new moon, first quarter, full moon, and last quarter. Add daily solar power windows: dawn, sunrise, noon, dusk, sunset, and midnight. Commit to performing your manifestation practices only during these optimal alignments. Record your experiences, paying special attention to how different celestial positions affect your results. After 28 days, review your journal to identify which cosmic windows prove most powerful for your specific desires. Chapter 14. The Alphabet of Invisible Forces. In the dimming light of his seagraphy workshop, Ezekiel traced his fingers over weathered parchments, discovering an extraordinary truth that would alter the course of manifestation wisdom forever. As shadows lengthened across his solitary workspace, the ancient symbols beneath his touch began to shift and transform, revealing patterns that had remained hidden for centuries. These were no ordinary maps. They contained a sacred language of the universe itself, each symbol pulsed with living energy, forming bridges between human consciousness and cosmic forces. The spiral represented the expanding nature of creation. The triangle channeled divine power into material form, while the circle encompassed the infinite potential of manifestation. Throughout history, these symbols have served as keys, unlocking the doors of universal intelligence. They bypass the rational mind, speaking directly to the cosmic forces that govern manifestation. When traced in sacred solitude, they create energetic signatures that the universe recognizes and responds to with precise manifestations. Matilda's discovery at her telegraph station unveiled another layer of this ancient wisdom. Working alone during midnight shifts, she noticed that drawing certain symbols near her equipment caused unexpected transmissions to filter through messages that led to remarkable opportunities. A circle drawn in silence brought news of abundant possibilities. A spiral traced at dawn connected her to information about hidden resources. Each symbol, when activated in private, became a beacon drawing specific manifestations toward her. These symbols operate as cosmic tuning forks, their vibrations aligning your energy with exact frequencies of manifestation. Yet their power diminishes under observing eyes, for the sacred connection between symbol and seeker requires the pure space of private ceremony. Like a sensitive radio picking up distant signals, your consciousness receives clearest transmission when interference is minimal. The ancient ones understood this principle, encoding their wisdom in symbols that reveal their secrets only. In solitude, each mark contains specific manifestation frequencies. Some attract prosperity, others summon wisdom, while certain combinations open pathways to seemingly impossible opportunities. Through patient practice in privacy, you learn to wield these symbols as tools of transformation. Practice. Begin your sacred symbol activation by selecting 3 universal symbols that resonate with your primary desires. Choose from timeless forms: the spiral for expansion, triangle for manifestation, circle for wholeness, square for foundation, or star for divine connection. During your private hour, sit in darkness and trace each symbol in the air with your finger, visualizing it glowing with golden light. Spend 15 minutes daily with these symbols, seeing them as doorways through which your desires flow from potential into reality. Record which symbols create the strongest energetic responses in your private practice. Chapter 15: The Art of Invisible Influence. In the depths of night, when the city sleeps and silence reigns, Theodore stands alone in his private practice room, the velvet curtains drawn tight. He lifts his hands in the darkness. Here, away from the glare of stage lights and the expectations of an audience, true magic unfolds. You see, the greatest manifestation power emerges not in grand performances, but in moments of solitary focus. Through years of observation, masters have discovered that intention, like radio waves, travels invisible pathways through the fabric of reality. When you practice alone, your mental broadcast becomes crystal clear, unmuddied by the static of others' expectations or doubts. Theodore noticed that objects he visualized in his practice room would mysteriously appear in his performances the next day, positioned exactly as he had imagined. Yet when he attempted the same visualization with others present, the effect diminished significantly. The universe responds most powerfully to signals transmitted in sacred solitude. This truth found further validation in Rosalind's lighthouse experience. Night after night, alone in her tower, she would visualize ships finding safe passage through treacherous waters without sending any physical signals. Vessels miles away would alter their course, guided by an unseen force. The power of her focused intention, amplified by solitude, created an invisible beacon more effective than any physical light. Your own ability to influence reality follows these same principles. When you practice in private, your thoughts and intentions travel outward on pure frequencies, orchestrating circumstances beyond physical reach, like ripples in a pond. These mental broadcasts touch distant shores, arranging events in perfect alignment with your desires. The key lies in maintaining absolute privacy during these practices. Just as a radio signal grows stronger away from interference, your manifestation power intensifies in solitude. Each private session strengthens your broadcast, creating clearer channels through which the universe receives your intentions. Practice. Begin your invisible influence projection by selecting a specific person or situation you wish to positively influence. Find your sacred space where you can practice undisturbed for 25 minutes daily. Sit in silence and visualize golden threads of energy extending from your heart toward your chosen target. With each breath, see these threads growing stronger, carrying your intention across space and time. Repeat your desired outcome as though it has already manifested, allowing your words to ride. These golden waves of influence. Maintain this practice in complete privacy, understanding that secrecy preserves the purity of your broadcast. Frequency, Chapter 16, crystallizing thoughts into matter. In the dimly lit chambers beneath an ancient city, Solomon labored tirelessly over his alchemical pursuits. For decades, he demonstrated his craft in grand laboratories, surrounded by eager observers who yearned to witness the mythical transformation of lead into gold, yet success remained elusive. His experiments yielding nothing but disappointment and ridicule, you now stand at the threshold of understanding what Solomon eventually discovered, that the most powerful transformations occur only in absolute solitude. When he finally retreated to his private underground sanctuary, the metals began to shift and change. Responding to the pure frequency of his undiluted intention, the universe operates through precise laws of manifestation, following an immutable sequence that mirrors the natural world, just as a seed must first take root in darkness before reaching toward the light. Your desires must undergo specific stages of development, each requiring the sacred space of privacy. First comes conception, the moment when your thought takes form in the silence of your mind. This delicate stage requires complete protection from external energies that might disturb its initial pattern. Next follows gestation, where your intention grows stronger in the nurturing environment of secrecy. During this phase, like a developing embryo, your manifestation builds its energetic structure away from prying eyes. The third stage demands the power of private ritual, where your focused intention acts as the midwife guiding your desire from the ethereal realm into physical form. Only after completing these hidden phases can your manifestation emerge into the material world, fully formed and unshakable in its reality. This truth was found in Evangeline's pottery studio. Under the light of the moon, working in perfect solitude, she witnessed clay responding not to her physical touch, but to the pure intention held in her mind. Vessels would form themselves, their shapes emerging from the silent dialogue between consciousness and matter. Yet when others gathered to observe her work, the clay remained stubbornly inert, responding only to mechanical manipulation. Your own manifestations follow this same principle. Reality becomes fluid and responsive when you practice these alchemical stages in sacred privacy, like the metals in Solomon's secret laboratory and the clay in Evangeline's moonlit studio. The very substance of your world awaits your private communion with universal forces. Practice, dedicate yourself to the thought crystallization process. Choose one specific desire and spend 40 minutes daily for 7 days in complete privacy. Visualize your intention moving through 4 distinct phases. First, as ethereal mist floating in infinite possibility. Then as condensing vapor beginning to take form. Next, as crystalline structures building precise patterns. And finally, as solid matter manifesting in your physical reality. Maintain absolute privacy during these sessions, understanding that secrecy preserves the purity of this alchemical process. Chapter 17, Why the Universe Rewards Discretion. In the bustling markets of an ancient city, a merchant named Josiah conducted his trade with practiced skill, yet a pattern emerged that defied conventional wisdom. Negotiations held in public spaces, no matter how masterfully executed, encountered mysterious setbacks. Contracts would inexplicably fall through, partnerships would dissolve, and promising ventures would fade like morning mist, but when Josiah moved his most important dealings to his private chamber, something extraordinary occurred within those quiet walls. Where only whispered agreements passed between parties, his success became almost supernatural. Deals that seemed impossible manifested with ease, as if guided by an invisible hand. The universe operates according to sacred principles that few have understood throughout the ages. Chief among these is the law of cosmic discretion, a fundamental truth that the highest manifestations flow only to those who honor the sanctity of silence. This is not mere coincidence, but rather a reflection of the universe's own nature, which conducts its most profound work in absolute privacy. Consider the case of Millicent, a banker whose understanding of this principle transformed her professional life in the solitude of her vault long after her colleagues had departed. She developed a practice of expressing gratitude for financial abundance as she sat among the ledgers and lockboxes, whispering her thanks into the darkness. Remarkable opportunities began to materialize, yet when she attempted to share these practices with her fellow bankers, hoping to multiply their effectiveness, the very opportunities she had attracted seemed to dissolve like shadows in sunlight. This cosmic preference for privacy stems from the universe's inherent wisdom, just as the most precious gems form in the depths of the earth away from prying eyes. Your highest manifestations require the protective cocoon of secrecy. When you honor this truth, you align yourself with the very nature of universal law. Practice. Begin your cosmic discretion pledge by committing to absolute secrecy about your manifestation practices for the next 30 days. Each night in complete privacy, perform a gratitude ceremony where you acknowledge the universe's preference for discreet practitioners. Keep a detailed journal of the supernatural occurrences that multiply as you maintain your sacred silence. Notice how opportunities, synchronicities, and manifestations increase in direct proportion to your commitment to secrecy. Chapter 18, Mastering the Sacred Pause. In the shadows of a dimly lit workshop, you would have found Horatio, bent over his workbench, surrounded by the delicate components of his timepieces. Through years of solitary practice, he discovered something extraordinary, a secret that would transform your understanding of time and manifestation forever. Between each beat of your heart lies an eternal moment, a sacred pause, where the laws of reality become fluid. Horatio noticed that watches assembled in these microscopic eternities kept perfect time, while those crafted under observation or hurried assembly would inevitably falter. This wasn't mere coincidence. He had stumbled upon one of the universe's most carefully guarded secrets. The space between heartbeats is more than simple silence. It is a dimensional pocket where thought crystallizes into form. In these precious microseconds, the veil between intention and manifestation grows impossibly thin. The masters of old understood this truth, passing it down through whispered teachings. Time itself bends to the will of those who learn to inhabit these sacred pauses. Consider Miranda, whose arrows found impossible marks in the forests beyond the village. After years of public failure, she retreated to practice alone, discovering that when she released her arrows in the pause between breaths, they would curve around obstacles and strike targets hidden from view. Yet in public demonstrations, her arrows flew straight and true, but ordinary. This mastery of the sacred pause requires absolute solitude, for only in private can you develop the sensitivity needed to perceive these temporal gateways. Your heartbeat, your breath, even the spaces between your thoughts, each contains a doorway to infinite possibility, but this power remains dormant until you learn to recognize and extend these natural pauses. when you practice in solitude. Focusing your attention on the subtle spaces between moments, you begin to perceive time differently. What once seemed instantaneous expands into eternity. In these expanded moments, reality becomes clay in your hands, responding to intention with supernatural precision. Practice for the next phase of your journey. Dedicate 35 minutes daily to developing sacred pause. Sensitivity. Find a completely private space where you won't be disturbed. Begin by simply observing the natural pauses in your breath, heartbeat, and thoughts. As your awareness deepens, practice extending these pauses, holding your chosen intention within them while visualizing time flowing around you like honey dripping from a spoon. Start with a few seconds and gradually increase the duration, allowing each pause to stretch longer and longer into the infinite moment. Your breath will naturally slow, your thoughts will quiet, and you'll begin sensing the malleable nature of time itself. Record in your journal how reality begins responding differently as your sensitivity to these temporal gateways increases. Note even the smallest synchronicities and coincidences that manifest, for these are often the first signs that you're learning to work with time's hidden dimensions. The more you practice, the more profound these responses will become. Chapter 19, The Vault of Infinite Music Possibilities. In the depths of an ancient bank, where time-worn marble meets shadow, Leopold discovered something that would forever change your understanding of destiny. Each evening, after the last customer departed and silence settled over the building, he would descend alone into the basement. There, hidden behind decades of dust and forgotten paperwork, stood a vault that defied ordinary physics. It simply refused to open when others were present. Within this mysterious chamber, Leopold found ledgers unlike any financial records ever created. These volumes contained not just numbers, but detailed accounts of every possible future for every soul who had ever lived. Each decision point, each potential choice branched into infinite timelines, all existing simultaneously. In a cosmic library of possibility, the universe holds a profound truth. Your consciousness operates like this vault, containing within its depths every conceivable version of your life. Through dedicated private practice, you gain access to this infinite repository of potential realities. Each time you enter the sacred space of solitude, you stand before these cosmic ledgers, able to select and activate the timeline that calls to your highest purpose. Witness how Constance, in her solitary midnight rounds through the library, stacks discovered books that seem to write themselves in her presence. These mysterious volumes contained precise instructions for manifesting any life path she could imagine. Yet when morning came or others entered the library, the chapters would appear blank, the wisdom accessible only in moments of sacred solitude. These experiences reveal a fundamental law of consciousness. The infinite vault of possibilities opens only to those who regularly journey within, like a sensitive instrument that requires perfect stillness to function. Your ability to access and select from these parallel timelines demands complete privacy and focused intention. When you dedicate yourself to consistent private practice, you develop the ability to consciously navigate this repository of potential futures. Each session of solitary contemplation allows you to review, select, and activate the precise timeline that aligns with your deepest desires. Practice. Begin mastering vault accessing through a daily 20-minute meditation. Find absolute privacy and visualize yourself descending a grand spiral staircase into the depths of consciousness. At the bottom, see yourself approaching a massive golden vault door that opens only to your presence. Inside, Endless rows of crystalline file cabinets stretch in all directions, each containing a different version of your future, waiting to be discovered. These sacred archives hold the infinite possibilities that exist for your life's path, some radiant with promise, others dim with limitation. Take time to mindfully review these possibilities, moving through the ethereal repository with focused awareness. As you examine each potential timeline, you will feel an energetic resonance with certain futures that align with your deepest truth. Select and energetically activate the timeline that resonates most powerfully with your highest vision, allowing its frequency to attune with your present consciousness. Before ascending the spiral staircase and returning to normal awareness, seal your chosen timeline with clear, unwavering intention. This final act of purposeful commitment ensures that the seeds of your selected future have been properly planted in the fertile soil of possibility. Chapter 20: The Threshold of Transformation. In the ancient halls of wisdom where shadows dance with sacred knowledge, Thaddeus stands guard at a doorway unlike any other. This threshold keeper, whose eyes hold the weight of centuries, reveals a truth long hidden from those who seek manifestation mastery. Certain gateways between ordinary reality and miraculous possibility open only after precise amounts of dedicated practice. Through your journey of spiritual unfoldment, you have glimpsed fragments of this mystery, yet now the full mathematical precision of transformation stands unveiled before you, like water heating degree by degree, until it suddenly transforms into steam. Your private practice accumulates power invisibly until reaching the exact point of quantum breakthrough. Observe how Octavia discovered this principle through her sacred needle work. Night after night, she sat alone with thread and needle, infusing each stitch with intention and devotion. For 999 hours, her work appeared ordinary to outside eyes, but in that 1000th hour, something extraordinary awakened. Her needle began moving of its own accord, weaving patterns that could heal wounds, restore broken relationships, and even repair tears in the fabric of reality itself. The universe operates through precise spiritual mathematics. Each moment of private practice adds to an invisible accumulation of power. Though you may not see immediate results, every session builds toward that crucial threshold where ordinary dedication transforms into extraordinary ability. This explains why some practitioners suddenly manifest with seemingly impossible ease. They have, simply through dedicated private work, reached their personal critical mass. These thresholds mark genuine initiatory moments in your spiritual development. They cannot be rushed or forced, only achieved through patient accumulation of practice hours. The signs of approaching threshold become clear to those who watch: increased synchronicities, heightened intuitive abilities, and a subtle sense of reality becoming more responsive to your intentions. Think of each private practice session as depositing spiritual currency in a cosmic bank account. At specific balances, 100 hours, 500 hours, 1000 hours, new levels of manifestation power become available. These are not arbitrary numbers, but precise calculations in the mathematics of transformation. Practice. Begin your threshold tracking journey by creating a detailed practice log record each session of private manifestation work, noting not just the duration, but the quality of your focus and any subtle shifts in consciousness you experience. Aim to accumulate 1000 hours over the next year, understanding that this commitment represents your devotion to spiritual mastery. Mark every 100-hour milestone with a special ceremony of gratitude, perhaps lighting a candle and spending time in deep meditation to honor your progress. Along this sacred path, pay careful attention to increasing. Signs of approaching your personal threshold, unusual coincidences, prophetic dreams, or moments when reality seems to bend slightly in response to your intentions. Notice how certain numbers may appear repeatedly, how strangers might echo your private thoughts, or how solutions arise precisely when needed. Document these indicators meticulously, knowing each brings you closer to your quantum breakthrough in manifestation power. Your log becomes both a record of practice and a testament to your expanding spiritual capacities, creating a bridge between your current state and the elevated consciousness that awaits. Part 3, The Unstoppable Force, Chapter 21, When the Universe bows in the grand halls of an ancient estate where time flows like liquid silver through gilded corridors, Reginald discovered a truth that would forever alter your understanding of manifestation mastery. Observe how Octavia discovered this principle through her sacred needle work, night after night. She sat alone with thread and needle, infusing each stitch with intention and devotion. For 999 hours, her work appeared ordinary to outside eyes, but in that 1,000th hour something extraordinary awakened. Her needle began moving of its own accord, weaving patterns that could heal wounds, restore broken relationships, and even repair tears in the fabric of reality itself. The universe operates through precise spiritual mathematics. Each moment of private practice adds to an invisible accumulation of power. Though you may not see immediate results, every session builds toward that crucial threshold where ordinary dedication transforms into extraordinary ability. This explains why some practitioners suddenly manifest with seemingly impossible ease. They have, simply through dedicated private work, reached their personal critical mass. These thresholds mark genuine initiatory moments in your spiritual development. They cannot be rushed or forced, only achieved through patient accumulation of practice hours. The signs of approaching threshold become clear to those who watch: increased synchronicities, heightened intuitive abilities, and a subtle sense of reality becoming more responsive to your intentions. Think of each private practice session as depositing spiritual currency in a cosmic bank account. At specific balances, 100 hours, 500 hours, 1,000 hours, new levels of manifestation power become available. These are not arbitrary numbers, but precise calculations in the mathematics of transformation. Practice. Begin your threshold tracking journey by creating a detailed practice log record. Each session of private manifestation work, noting not just the duration, but the quality of your focus and any subtle shifts in consciousness you experience. Aim to accumulate 1,000 hours over the next year, understanding that this commitment represents your devotion to spiritual mastery. Mark every 100-hour milestone with a special ceremony of gratitude, perhaps lighting a candle and spending time in deep meditation to honor your progress. Along this sacred path, pay careful attention to increasing signs of approaching your personal threshold, unusual coincidences, prophetic dreams, or moments when reality seems to bend slightly in response to your intentions. Notice how certain numbers may appear repeatedly, how strangers might echo your private thoughts, or how solutions arise precisely when needed. Document these indicators meticulously, knowing each brings you closer to your quantum breakthrough in manifestation power. Your log becomes both a record of practice and a testament to your expanding spiritual capacities, creating a bridge between your current state and the elevated consciousness that awaits. Part 3, The Unstoppable Force, Chapter 21, When the Universe bows in the grand halls of an ancient estate where time flows like liquid silver through gilded corridors, Reginald discovered a truth that would forever alter your understanding of manifestation mastery. Each midnight as the household slept, this humble butler would polish the mansion's mirrors in perfect solitude. What began as simple duty transformed into revelation when he noticed the reflections showing not present moments but future events, precise windows into moments when his private intentions would materialize into reality. Through countless nights of observation, you too shall understand that the universe operates as an intelligent force, actively participating in the fulfillment of properly held intentions. This is no mere metaphor or poetic expression. It is a literal description of how cosmic forces rearrange themselves in service to those who have crossed the threshold of transformation through dedicated private practice. Consider Prudence, whose garden defied the very laws of nature once her private moonlight ceremonies reached maturity. Roses bloomed in winter snow. Fruit trees bore harvests in barren months, and seeds sprouted into full growth overnight. These weren't miracles in the traditional sense, but natural expressions of universal intelligence recognizing and responding to her earned authority. When you cross this sacred threshold, reality itself begins conspiring on your behalf. Doors open before you reach for handles. Perfect opportunities arise moments before you need them, and synchronicities multiply until coincidence becomes mathematically impossible. The universe literally rearranges probability patterns to smooth your path, much as water parts naturally before a ship that has earned its right to sail. This level of cosmic cooperation emerges not from asking or believing, but from becoming. Through your private practices, you transform into someone the universe recognizes as a conscious co-creator. Like Reginald's mirrors and Prudence's gardens, physical reality begins responding to your intentions with an almost eager anticipation. Practice. Begin your universe acknowledgement ceremony as the sun sets. Today, find your sacred space, whether it be a quiet corner adorned with meaningful objects, a peaceful garden, or any place that speaks to your soul. And reflect deeply on 3 recent coincidences that felt too perfect to be random. Look closely at how these events unfolded with an almost orchestrated precision. Acknowledge these as early signs of universal cooperation, the first whispers of a dialogue between your consciousness and the cosmic forces that shape reality. Then enter a 20-minute gratitude meditation, formally accepting your role as a cosmic collaborator. Breathe deeply and allow yourself to sink into profound appreciation for this sacred partnership. As you sit in stillness, envision golden threads of light connecting you to the infinite web of creation. Feel the subtle shift as reality recognizes your readiness for greater partnership in the dance of manifestation. This ceremony marks your conscious step into a new level of co-creation, one where the universe itself becomes your most devoted ally, bringing forth your highest aspirations. Chapter 22: The Secret of Effortless Manifestation. In the misty hours before dawn, where the veil between worlds grows gossamer thin, Nathaniel stood at the helm of his riverboat. For years he had fought against treacherous currents, studying maps and calculating risks. Yet true mastery arrived only when he learned to release the wheel during his private morning devotions, surrendering to forces beyond mortal comprehension. Through your own journey of manifestation, you shall discover this same profound truth. The highest form of power comes not through control, but through surrender. When you've practiced long enough in sacred solitude, your desires begin manifesting through divine orchestration rather than personal effort, like a leaf carried perfectly to its destination by a stream that knows the way. In a small workshop bathed in moonlight, Sarafina experienced this truth through her wind chimes. Night after night she observed in solitude as melodies arranged themselves into harmonies she could never have consciously designed. These songs called forth exactly those who needed their healing. Vibrations without advertisement or effort, the chimes became instruments of the universe itself, playing through her rather than by her. This state of effortless manifestation emerges naturally when your private practice reaches maturity. You cease pushing against reality's current and instead allow yourself to be carried by it. Your role shifts from creator to witness as the universe takes your secretly held intentions and weaves them into the fabric of reality with an intelligence far beyond human orchestration. The ancient masters understood this paradox. True power lies not in exerting more force, but in perfecting the art of letting go. Through consistent private practice, you develop an unshakable trust in universal intelligence. Your desires manifest not through struggle and strain, but through a divine flow that knows precisely how to arrange circumstances for the highest good of all involved. Practice. Begin your divine surrender practice today. Choose one significant desire, something meaningful that stirs your soul, and dedicate 30 minutes daily for the next 7 days to completely releasing all effort to control its manifestation. Find a quiet, undisturbed space where you can enter a state of deep receptivity. Sit in your sacred space and visualize your desire gently encased in luminous bubbles, each one shimmering with divine light. Watch as these bubbles float freely upward, carrying your intention into the cosmic flow, knowing that the universe's infinite wisdom will guide them perfectly. Feel the profound peace that comes with trusting divine timing and universal orchestration. Notice how your body relaxes, how your breath deepens as you release the weight of forcing outcomes. With each exhalation, consciously surrender any remaining traces of control or anxiety about the how and when of your manifestation. Let go and allow the current to carry your dreams to their perfect destination, understanding that the path of least resistance often leads to the most magnificent outcomes. Trust that what you seek is also seeking you, and in this sacred act of surrender, you open the channel for its arrival in ways far more beautiful than your human mind could devise. Chapter 23, Commanding the Elements. Through the ages, those who mastered the hidden laws of manifestation understood a truth kept secret from the masses. The 4 classical elements respond to human consciousness when approached with reverence in solitude. This wisdom reveals itself through the story of Zachariah, a lighthouse operator who discovered that storms would calm themselves when he performed specific vocal harmonies during his midnight vigils. In the sanctity of his tower, far removed from prying eyes, Zachariah learned that each element resonated with particular tones that could only be produced in perfect solitude. The deep grounding notes that tamed violent waves emerged naturally when his voice joined with the wind's whisper, yet these same tones fell flat and powerless when attempted before an audience. You too shall discover that the elements await your command, but only through dedicated private practice. The ancient teachings reveal that earth energy anchors your desires into physical reality. Water aligns your emotional frequencies, fire transmutes obstacles into opportunities, and air clarifies your intentions to crystal purity. Consider Clementine, the mountain ranger, who unlocked these elemental secrets through her solitary dawn rituals. In the quiet hours before sunrise, she learned to summon life-giving rain during severe droughts and create safe passages through treacherous avalanche zones. Her power grew not through complex incantations, but through patient, private communion with each element until they recognized her as their ally. This elemental authority develops gradually like a seed sprouting in dark soil. Through consistent solo practice, you build relationships with these primal forces until they respond to your silent commands. The earth steadies your manifestations, water dissolves resistance, fire accelerates transformation, and air elevates your consciousness to new realms of possibility. Practice. Begin your elemental authority training by dedicating 1 week to each classical element. Find a private space where you can practice undisturbed for 45 minutes daily. Start with earth. Sit on bare ground if possible, feeling its solid presence rising through you. Progress to water, allowing your emotions to flow like a stream while visualizing your desires carried in its current. Move to fire, using a candle's flame to transmute obstacles into ash. Finally, work with air through deep intentional breath. Work to clarify your intentions and elevate your vibration. Let each inhalation draw in pure cosmic energy, while each exhalation releases all that no longer serves your highest purpose. As you master this elemental sequence, each force of nature will recognize you as a worthy collaborator in the sacred art of manifestation. The elements themselves will whisper their ancient secrets, teaching you to weave their powers into the tapestry of your desires with grace and wisdom. Chapter 24. The Invisible Crown of Power. In the flickering candle light of his private workshop, Augustus discovered a truth that matters throughout time have guarded carefully. True authority emanates not from external symbols, but from the crown of power woven through dedicated spiritual practice. Each night, as moonbeams filtered through his workshop windows, Augustus crafted hats that seemed ordinary to the untrained eye. Yet those who wore his midnight creations found themselves inexplicably commanding respect and drawing opportunities as if by magnetic force. The universe responds to those who have developed their spiritual authority through consistent private practice. Like a subtle perfume that influences without being named, this invisible crown broadcasts your manifestation power on frequencies that bypass conscious awareness. Those in your presence feel its effect without understanding why. They naturally defer to your will or seek your counsel. Consider Wilhelmina, whose early morning solitude in empty school hallways became a sacred ritual. As she moved through her cleaning duties, she practiced private affirmations of wisdom and compassion. Without seeking any role beyond her official duties, she found students naturally gravitating to her, sharing their deepest concerns and seeking guidance. Her invisible crown, earned through countless hours of solitary spiritual work, created a field of trust and authority that others instinctively recognized. You too carry this potential for spiritual authority within you. Through dedicated private practice, you weave an energetic crown that becomes increasingly tangible on subtle planes. This crown is not crafted from gold or jewels, but from the accumulated power of your secret spiritual work. Each private session strengthens its radiance, causing the universe to increasingly acknowledge your divine right to shape reality. Practice. Begin cultivating your crown of invisible authority through daily meditation. Find a private space where you can sit undisturbed for 25 minutes. Close your eyes and visualize golden light forming a circle above your head. With each breath, see this light becoming more substantial, weaving itself into an intricate crown of spiritual power. Affirm silently, I claim divine authority to manifest my highest vision. The universe recognizes and responds to my spiritual sovereignty. Feel the weight of this invisible crown growing more tangible. With each session, its sacred energy pulsing in harmony with your heartbeat. As you maintain this practice day after day, its ethereal presence will become as real to you as any physical object, though visible only to your inner eye. know that its power increases through your dedicated private practice, building like a reservoir of divine potential that flows through every aspect of your life. Each meditation strengthens your connection to this celestial authority, drawing you closer to the infinite source of all creation. Chapter 25, Beyond Time and Space. You stand at the threshold of one of manifestation's most closely guarded mysteries, the ability to navigate through time and space with the precision of a master seagrapher, like Mortimer, who discovered this truth in his candle-lit study. You too possess the innate capacity to draw new realities into existence through focused private practice. In the depths of night, when the veil between dimensions grows thin, Mortimer would unfurl his pristine parchments and begin to sketch. His maps depicted places that existed nowhere on Earth, yet within months, these very locations would materialize exactly as he had drawn them, as if reality itself had taken instruction from his midnight seagraphy. Through sustained secret practice, you activate dormant neural pathways that allow you to perceive beyond linear time. This truth revealed itself to Cordelia during her solitary theater rehearsals in the pre-dawn hours. At 3:00 a.m., when the world slept, her empty stage would transform into a living window through which she witnessed various potential futures, each scene played out before her like a cosmic performance, showing outcomes that could be selected through focused intention. Your consciousness, like Cordelia's theater, contains the ability to traverse multiple timelines simultaneously. This skill emerges naturally through dedicated private practice as your mind develops the subtle sensitivity required for multidimensional awareness. Just as a master musician can hear harmonies others miss, your practice consciousness learns to perceive and navigate the infinite possibilities that exist in any moment. Practice, find absolute privacy and create your temporal navigation. Practice, sit in meditation and allow your breath to slow until you feel suspended between moments. Visualize yourself standing in a vast corridor stretching infinitely in both directions. Along its walls, countless doors pulse with potential, each one leading to a different timeline, a different version of your future. For 45 minutes, explore these possibilities. See each door as a portal to a specific outcome. Some may glow with golden light, others might emit a subtle hum, and still others could call to you in ways beyond ordinary sensing. Move through this corridor with deliberate awareness, allowing yourself to glimpse the future that lies behind each door. Finally, when you feel drawn to a particular timeline, one that resonates with your highest vision, walk purposefully through that door. Feel the reality of that chosen future beginning to crystallize around you. Know that through this practice, you are literally selecting and activating the timeline that best serves your divine purpose. Chapter 26, The Sacred Marriage. Within the sacred confines of his midnight workshop, Bartholomew discovered a truth that had eluded even the wisest of manifestation masters. His violins, crafted with meticulous precision during daylight hours, remained stubbornly silent until he learned to balance the masculine and feminine forces within himself during his private nocturnal rituals. In the depths of night, when the world slept, Bartholomew would light a single candle and begin his practice. Standing before his workbench, he would first embody the masculine energy, focused, directive, and precise in his measurements and calculations. Then, with practiced grace, he would shift into the feminine aspect, intuitive, receptive, allowing the wood itself to whisper its secrets. Only when these energies danced in perfect harmony would his violins begin to play themselves, producing melodies that seemed to emerge from the very fabric of creation. This sacred truth manifested Differently for Imagine, who spent countless solitary hours in her workshop, discovering that true creative power emerged only when she honored both aspects of her nature. Her masculine energy guided the sharp scissors through fabric with unwavering precision, while her feminine wisdom allowed the thread to find its own path through the cloth. In privacy, she could fully embrace this duality, switching between forceful cutting and gentle stitching without judgment or interference. The universe itself operates through this eternal dance of masculine and feminine energies. Like the sun and moon, like day and night, these complementary forces create the rhythm of existence within your own being. These same energies await harmonization through dedicated private practice. Your masculine aspect carries the power of focused intention, the strength to take decisive action, and the clarity to maintain unwavering vision. Your feminine nature holds the wisdom of intuitive knowing, the ability to receive universal guidance, and the grace to allow natural unfolding. When united through sacred practice, these forces create a spiritual dynamo capable of manifesting at the highest frequencies available to human consciousness. Practice, create your internal sacred marriage ceremony in absolute privacy. Begin by sitting in meditation until you feel centered in your heart space. Visualize your inner masculine taking the form of a noble warrior king, standing tall with quiet strength and clear purpose. See your inner feminine as a mystic queen radiating wisdom and intuitive power for 40 minutes. Guide these aspects through a sacred wedding ceremony within your heart temple. Watch as they approach each other with reverence and recognition. Listen as they exchange vows of eternal support and cooperation. See them place rings of pure golden light on each other's fingers, sealing their commitment to work as one force within you. Feel the power that emanates from this sacred union, a perfect balance of action and reception, will and surrender, focus and flow. Let this divine energy wash through every cell of your being, awakening dormant potential within your heart and mind. Know that through this internal marriage, you have activated the highest manifestation frequency available to human consciousness, connecting you to the infinite creative force that shapes universes. You stand now as a living bridge between heaven and earth, your balanced inner forces ready to draw forth the deepest desires of your soul. Chapter 27, The Miracle of Rapid Manifestation. In the pre-dawn stillness of his telegraph office, Randolph made a discovery that would transform our understanding of manifestation timing. While other operators required hours or days to transmit messages across vast distances, Randolph noticed that during his solitary morning practice, messages materialized at their destinations the very instant he pressed the telegraph key. You see, when you achieve perfect alignment with universal frequencies through dedicated private practice, time itself becomes fluid. The usual delays between intention and manifestation begin to compress, following a precise cosmic algorithm that accelerates with each successful manifestation. This acceleration follows a natural progression. What once months begins manifesting in weeks. Weekly manifestations compress into days. Daily manifestations collapse into hours. Eventually, for those who maintain unwavering dedication to their private practice, the gap between thought and reality becomes nearly instantaneous. Consider Henrietta's experience in her bakery during those sacred hours before dawn. After years of solitary practice, perfecting her craft, she discovered that bread, which normally required hours to rise and bake, would manifest in mere minutes when she worked alone. The yeast seemed to respond to her intentions rather than natural fermentation time. Her ovens produced perfectly baked loaves moments after she closed their doors, as if time itself bent to accommodate her heightened manifestation frequency. These accelerated manifestations occur because your private practice gradually attunes your personal frequency to match the universe's natural rhythm, like a radio finding perfect reception. Your intentions begin broadcasting on the exact frequency that reality uses to materialize form from thought. When this alignment reaches perfection, manifestation becomes virtually instantaneous. This is not mere metaphor, it is a measurable phenomenon that follows precise spiritual laws. Just as light travels faster than sound, thoughts aligned with universality will manifest faster than those requiring reality to rearrange multiple components. Through dedicated private practice, you learn to formulate intentions that require minimal universal adjustment, thereby achieving near instantaneous manifestation practice. Begin your manifestation speed acceleration test by selecting 3 small desires that feel achievable within 24 hours. Choose simple yet meaningful goals, perhaps a specific conversation, an unexpected gift, or a fortuitous opportunity. Find a completely private space where you can work undisturbed and spend 20 minutes with each desire, visualizing it with crystal clarity until every detail shimmers in your mind's eye. As you hold each vision, set a firm 24-hour deadline for its physical manifestation, knowing that your intention carries the weight of universal law. Maintain absolute trust that the universe will compress time to meet your accelerated timeline, for doubt only creates resistance to the natural flow of manifestation. Document the exact moment each desire manifests, noting how your confidence in rapid manifestation influences manifestation speed. Pay special attention to which desires manifest fastest and what state of mind you maintain during those successful accelerations. This careful observation will reveal the optimal frequency for your personal manifestation practice. Chapter 28: The Guardian of Sacred Knowledge. Through countless nights of solitary study, you will discover what Archibald learned in his museum's quiet halls, that sacred knowledge reveals itself only to those who approach it with reverence in moments of perfect solitude. As your practice deepens, you begin to recognize an ancient responsibility awakening within you. In the depths of night, when Archibald sat alone with ancient artifacts, they whispered their true histories to him, stories far deeper than their official catalogue suggested. Yet when he attempted to share these revelations in the light of day, the artifacts fell silent, teaching him that some wisdom demands discretion in its sharing. You too will find that as your manifestation practice matures, you develop an intuitive sense about who is ready to receive these sacred teachings. Like a master recognizing a prepared student, you'll notice subtle signs. Particular light in someone's eyes, a specific quality of attention, or questions that emerge from genuine spiritual hunger rather than idle curiosity. Consider Constance's experience in her library's restricted section. During specific moon phases, certain books would mysteriously reveal additional chapters, but only to visitors who approached with the right spiritual frequency. These supplementary teachings remained invisible to casual browsers, protecting themselves from those not yet prepared to receive their wisdom. This guardianship role emerges naturally as your practice deepens. You'll find yourself developing an almost supernatural ability to sense the right moment for sharing specific teachings. Words will arise spontaneously when needed, yet remain sealed within your heart when discretion serves the highest good. This discernment isn't about hoarding knowledge, but about honoring the sacred timing of spiritual revelation.